What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Igani. We here on 910 Sports TV. Once again, we in the building. You know what I mean? First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity because without him, I would not be able to come on here to do what I do. Secondly, if y'all looking for my brother from another mother, Jacob the Great, he couldn't be on today. Unfortunately, he was caught up in one of the storm, the hurricane Helene, and the power got knocked out in their city. I think he told me over 1.4 million people's power was knocked out in the South Carolina area, the area he lives in, since Saluda, South Carolina. I think it was like 9,000 people's electricity was knocked out in his area. So basically, of course, that meaning you don't have internet, you don't have access to be able to, like you normally would, to be able to do what you need to do. But I'm gonna hold it down for my brother, just like I know he would hold it down for me. And the crazy part about it was the first thing that happened was I called him and I said, "Man, you want me to push the show back maybe a week or two?" And he was like, "No, man." He was like, "Keep going," you know what I mean, or whatever. And so that showed me the power of, that showed me what kind of teammate he is and a partner he is by him saying, instead of him telling me to stop and wait until he's ready, he told me to keep going on the show and whatever. So basically, I'm here to hold it down for both of us. So y'all pray for my brother, Great Jacob the Great. Like I said, his power down in South Carolina. He couldn't come on tonight, but I'm gonna hold it down for the both of us. So first and foremost, man, we gonna get into something bad. Hey, listen, y'all. For y'all that don't know, I'm a big Washington Commanders fan. Been a fan since a Washington Redskins fan since 83, 84. I'm talking about Joe Theismann. I'm talking about John Riggins. I'm talking about Art Monk. I'm talking about Gary Clark. I'm talking about Dexter Manley. I'm talking about Charles Mann. I'm talking about Dale Green, the second greatest cornerback of all time. I'm talking about them days, the Hogs. You know what I'm saying? Joe Gibbs, the whole 9 yards. That's how long I've been a fan of the Washington Redskins. And it's been some lonely nights. It's been some hard days. I make jokes to people all the time. Like at the end of the day, if it was a thing about going to heaven, I need to go to heaven. All Washington Redskins, Commanders fans, whatever you want to call it, need to go to heaven based off of being a Washington Commanders Redskins / fan, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, man, I'm happy right now because after the first month of the season, we basically baby at the quarter pole of the season. I know it's 17 games, but we at the after the fourth game, the first month is over with. We 3-1. We first place in NFC East. And most importantly, we have a real quarterback. So that's most important that we have a real quarterback now. And basically, man, hey, I mean Jaden Daniels, I was telling my Jacob last year, because over the summer we was talking about, Jaden Daniels, we talking about Sam Howell. And I said, Sam Howell is a decent quarterback. I ain't gonna take nothing away from him. His second year getting out there, he played about as well as he probably could, especially under the old regime. We had terrible coaching, terrible management, terrible ownership, and Sam Howell did about as best as he could last year. But I told Jacob, I said, I don't look at him as a franchise quarterback. I just don't. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. He's just one of those guys that he might come in and play a few games for you, but as far as being the next 10-year quarterback that can run your franchise, I don't see it yet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you why I don't see it. The same way I seen in Drake May. Because in their last year of playing in college, both of them come from Carolina. And Drake May to me is Sam Howell 2.0. And both of them turn the ball over a lot, make a lot of poor decisions when it comes to making plays at certain times of the game, critical points of the game. And so I'm glad the Patriots are taking it slow with Drake May. And a lot of people, I know they were saying that they would chose Drake May over Jaden Daniels coming into the draft. But the one thing that I understood about sports and especially the quarterback play. If you look at Jaden Daniels he threw for 50, I think 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions his last year at LSU. He had a long road. He played at Arizona State, so he went kind of the long way around to get to this point. But for one, he's a veteran player. He played over 50 something games, I think, in his college career. So he has a lot of experience, and he played in the best conference in the country. I give SEC a lot of slack sometimes. Sometimes I think overall the conference is overrated. But if you take the top dogs, the Georgias, the LSU's, the Alabamas, You know what I'm saying? Every time, and every now and then, other teams will sneak in, and of course, this year you got Texas and other teams right out there. Jaden Daniels performed very well against top competition. He might not necessarily won those games, but he performed well himself against top competition. So coming into this, I knew, and then when you heard the buzz around the arena and around the team about his leadership skills, how he's the first one in, the last one to leave, how he has just and everybody in the organization embraced him, from his teammates to the coaching staff to the ownership. Everybody embraced this guy from day one and seeing what he could be. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all. After the first game of the season, I was kind of like, man, we might go 0-17 as bad as we look against Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And I said, well, we definitely got to beat the Giants, because if we don't beat the Giants, it's going to be a long, long season. And it wasn't a pretty win. But then you got to also look at it. It's a division game. Division games aren't always going to be pretty. Just like what I'm about to get into in a second, the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants game. That wasn't a pretty game, to say the least. And the Giants and the Washington Commanders was a least pretty game or whatever than probably what we seen a couple of nights ago. But at the same time, when I seen last week, I watched it against the Bengals, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a bing with y'all. I thought we were gonna get blown out. I really did. I after the way we played against um, the Giants, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we got blown out. And we held in there, we stayed focused, we did what we had to do, and we was more. I like the way we played against Cincinnati Bengals. I became a true 100% believer of Jaden Daniels. Now our defense last week was terrible, and Jaden Daniels did everything he could to make sure we won that game against the Bengals. And when I seen him throw them couple of passes to scary Terry McLaurin, I knew we was on the right path. And that's another thing. I'm gonna give time. Y'all out there, especially Washington fans, other Washington fans who say that Terry McLaurin is not a number one. You crazy. If you don't think Terry McLaurin is a number one receiver, you haven't been watching football or haven't been watching Washington for the last 4 or 5 years since he's been there. He has four back to back. He has four back-to-back and saying that, sorry about that, and saying that he's had 11 quarterbacks in 4 years. And for you to still get 1,000 yards with receiving, a lot of receivers wouldn't do that. A lot of receivers wouldn't be able to still get 1,000 yard receiving season with 11 quarterbacks. I want to say he's made the Pro Bowl a couple of times in that span. I know at least once. So if you put him before this year with Jaden Daniels, if you would have put him with a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a lot of different quarterbacks, a Joe Burrow, probably even a Dak Prescott, and what they had or whatever, he probably would have got 1,000 yards catching and probably would have been considered top 8, top 7 receiver in the game. But the fact that Terry Scary McLaurin has had quarterbacks of Tyler Haneke, Sam Howell, and all kind of and Carson Wentz, just to name a few, and he's still putting up 1,000 yards receiving. Let me know he's a number one receiver. And this year playing with Jaden Daniels, he's going to be able to prove that. Now the thing about it is the thing about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is not going to force the ball to Terry McLaurin. See, I think that was the biggest mistake a lot of quarterbacks in our past did. They would try to force feed him the ball instead of allowing him just to get his yards within the concept of the offense. This is the number one reason I feel like James Daniels doesn't turn the ball over, because he doesn't force things. He lets things happen naturally. So and he's very poised in the pocket. He made one mistake early in the game today and threw basically air sailed a pass and overthrew his receiver, or kind of threw it too high, and the other guy caught and made an interception. But if you talking about fourth game in, first turnover of the season, I'd take that all day long. He was trying to make a play. Like I said, try to force feed it a little bit to Terry McLaurin, and it wasn't there. But it is what it is. But I would rather him throw the ball away. I'd rather him take off running because he had the legs for it than make the mistakes or whatever that could cost you a game, the way that Sam Howell and Carson Wentz and play it. Even Tyler Heineke, I liked his toughness, but he made those mistakes too. So we'll be so basically that's it. I'm gonna get on to some other topics. We'll be right back here on 910 Sports. We're gonna take a quick break. Be right back. Okay, we back here on 910 Sports TV. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Icon E. Jacob the Great is out, like I said, this weekend because of his electricity issue, because of the bad storm that they had up there in South Carolina. So y'all continue to keep my brother and everybody else in South Carolina in your prayers and other areas that was hit by the storm over the last week. So, man, next we're gonna get into some games, man. We're gonna get into this week. So let's go back to Thursday night, y'all. Thursday night, the Cowboys and the Giants played. And a lot of people thought, okay, the Giants were going to get blown out. I was one of the ones that kind of didn't think they were. And I'm going to tell you why. Coming into this season, I already kind of knew the Cowboys may have taken a step back as far as the overall play is concerned. Now, the Cowboys still may win 11 or 12 games this year. And I'm going to tell you why. Because their schedule is not that difficult where they can't win 11 or 12 games. Now, them losing to the Saints a couple of weeks ago might put a dent in that because the Saints was one of those games they were supposed to win. So it just really depends on how they come back. Next week they have the Steelers, and the Steelers is a game they can win because Justin Fields he's not considered like he's not a top 15, top 20 quarterback in the league. So if you think about it, if you went quarterback for quarterback in these situations, Dak Prescott should be better than Justin Fields in order for them to win. Unless and even if they decide to put Russell Wilson out there, Dallas still should. He's kind of past. He's way past his prime to me. I think his better years are behind him, and so other than Pittsburgh's defense holding them in games, that would give them their best chance to win these games. But for the most part, the Cowboys should win this game. But the thing about it was the Cowboys let way too much talent walk out the door. You know what I mean? Let Michael Gallup walk out the door. They let Maury Cooper walk out the door, whether it was through trade or free agency or whatever. They didn't get a formidable running back. I thought they picked up Dalvin Cook for some odd reason. They haven't played him yet. And Ezekiel Elliott look like he's running in mud half the time. I'm surprised he's still in the league. At this point, he needs to be the fullback or just retire because he has nothing left in the tank from what I've seen put on for the most. As far as being a top number one running back, he has nothing left in the tank in that area. So by them not being able to run the ball and they're too what you would call CeeDee Lamb centric, because Brandon Cooks may make a play every night a couple of times during the game. The Ferguson, the tight end, but Ferguson, he's not a Travis Kelce. He's not a George Kittles. Just not yet anyway for what I've seen. So at the end of the day, the Cowboys are going to struggle offensively because they have one trick pony. If you figure out a way to kind of stymie CeeDee Lamb, let's say when they go against some of these better teams that would have better cornerbacks or just a better pass rush than the teams that they've been playing. Like if you watch them against the Saints had a formidable pass rush and they wouldn't allow CeeDee Lamb to get off. So when they go against teams that have a great pass rush, when they go against the 49ers, if they go against the Detroit, you see how Jaden Hudson playing. They go against Detroit Lions and that pass rush get to them, then CeeDee Lamb is not going to get off. If CeeDee Lamb doesn't get off for the Cowboys, then who can you rely on in that top and on the offensive end? Defensively wise, I would say this: Michael Parsons, do us all a favor. Stop talking. You're talking too much. Because first of all, I didn't even know this. Your first 4 games you played, you don't have any sacks going in. You're supposed to be the best edge rusher on the team. Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence is out there, but you're supposed to be the guy. You're supposed to be the guy for the future for the Dallas Cowboys. Next summer, you're going to want your bag. And you're not giving Dallas anything to get your bag. Now, last year, you would have great games against Washington, the Giants, and different sorry teams. You would have big sack games and big pass rush games. But you're not even doing that against the sorry teams. You're not even doing it against the Giants or whatever, against Daniel Jones. Now, and then think about it. Now, the one thing I would say about like a Jaden Daniels, when you play us in Washington, or you might not even get that against him because Jaden Daniels is more elusive. He's more aware of what's going around him. So you might put yourself out of position and get your team burnt on a lot of plays because you don't have you're not disciplined enough or whatever. Because because if you think about Michael Parsons, almost like he's almost a one trick pony. They're saying he at one point they was talking about he was the next Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor was more than a sack artist. Lawrence Taylor will tackle you. He will get at you. He disrupts every part of a play, not just one part of it. Not if well, if I can't get to the quarterback, then that's it. And that's all Michael Parsons is doing right now. But he's doing all this yapping and oh, we not Superman and the other people need to do their job and blah blah blah. Well, Michael Parsons, if you're the guy, you have to do your job. You know what I mean? Uh 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 that'd be like a number one play on an NBA team. That'd be like a Jordan or a Kobe or a Michael or LeBron or a Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or all these players, telling their players to do their job, but then they only putting up 5 points a game, or they only giving you 2 or 3 assists or 4 or 5 rebounds. That's what that would be. That would be the equivalent of what you're doing right now. You're not giving your team anything. You're the guy on the defensive side of the ball, but you're not giving your team anything to basically inspire them to be better. When I watch Jaden Daniels, he's coming as a rookie and he's inspired his team. If you watch the game today against the Arizona Cardinals, the defense played inspired. They only gave up 14 points against a very formidable quarterback in Kyler Murray. They had to disrupt him all game long. Was sacking him, was forcing him to throw bad passes, had him scrambling and running for his life all game long. You know what I'm saying? So that lets me know, if nothing else, Dan Quinn is winning there, made the players look at tape. He has come up with better game plans for them to go against different teams. They got a better scheme, the way they're doing things, because they're not getting burnt on the back end, left and right, or whatever, like they was the first, for especially the first game of the season. Tampa did whatever they wanted to. So now, if you watch, even last week, they was they and I was saying this online. I said the thing about last week games, a lot of Washington fans were saying that, oh man, Dan Quinn, oh okay, this is what he's gonna put out on the field, and this defensive game plan is terrible. And I was trying to tell people, no, it's not. If you know Cincinnati has two number one type receivers. They have T. Higgins, they have Jamar Chase. Both of them can run fast gazelles out there. So at the end of the day, what Washington was doing was saying, listen, even if you score, you're going to have to earn it. You're not going to get these 3-4 plays per game, per drive, where you're going to score on us quick. So what Washington did against Cincinnati, they made them earn their touchdowns, and at the same time they was coming back and scoring. So that's and by the way Washington played and Daniel Daniels is playing, you know what they did for this week? It inspired Jonathan Allen. It inspired Deron Payne. I told him, I said, them Alabama boys got to start playing, because at the end of the day, that's the one thing. If our pass rush continue to look the rest of the season like it did today, oh my God, good Lord. You know what I'm saying? And with Jaden Daniels out there and him utilizing his weapons the right way, because he got a lot of what I tell people, I said he got a lot of different weapons. You know what I'm saying? Now they're inspired. But the thing about it is they're not inspired in Dallas by the defensive side because their leader, Michael Parsons, is not playing. But anyway, we're going to get off of that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back here on 910 Sports TV. Okay, we back, y'all. We back. 910 Sports TV. Once again, like I said, I've been talking about the NFL weekend review. We're gonna get into some more games. I ain't gonna want to go into get into. I don't want to talk about every single game one by one, and you know what I mean. But we're gonna get into a little bit of each game or whatever. I'm gonna get into some of the more important games that basically the Bengals and the Panthers, man. The Bengals. I'm gonna say this. I still don't. I'm still not sold on the Bengals being a playoff team or coming back from that 0-3 bad start. First of all, they still don't have a great defense. You still gave up 24 points to the Panthers. You know what I mean? So if you giving up them, and I know the Panthers looked good last week, But at the same time, the Bengals, if you got Super Bowl aspirations, you can't be letting Carolina Panthers get 24 points and even making it halfway of a game or whatever. So I still think they look kind of suspect on defense and look like they're gonna struggle. I think they got Baltimore next or coming up, and that's gonna be a very tough game. And if they go 1-4 after 0-3, that's gonna be a hard hole to dig out of. I'm still not sold on you know Joe Burrow gonna be Joe Burrow, but you're gonna need more than Joe Burrow, and you're gonna need more than just that offense doing their thing. That defense gonna have to step up and play a lot better if they're gonna have a real chance of getting back to the playoffs and they have Super Bowl aspirations. So it's not just about getting to the playoffs for the Bengals. So anyway, moving on. The Falcons and Saints, great, good game. Always, you know how that goes. The Falcons Saints always play those down to the wire games. Falcons won at the crib. Falcons is one of those teams I feel like can definitely win the NFC South. I actually picked them to win the NFC South this year, because they kind of almost do for it. Every 4 or 5 years they win the division. They got the offensive players to do it, and the defense is decent. So I think they might have a good chance, especially beating the Saints. That's a good thing for today because with Tampa Bay, Tampa being right there too, it's going to be hard. So we'll find out what it really is when Falcons and Tampa play against each other. Probably, I'm not sure when they play, but they're probably pretty sure soon. I have to look at the schedule. Texans and Jaguars. I don't know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars are just not a good team. Um, they pretty much it's a season over with for them. 0-4. They played against the best team in the division, lost. So the season, I don't see they might win 5, 6 games in the end, but the Jaguars is terrible. But anyway, it is what it is. The Jets, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, go ahead and call it quits. It's time. It's yeah, Aaron Rodgers, it's time, brother. Like yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah, all 40 don't look the same. Your 40 don't look like Tom Brady's 40 or whatever. You kind of looking like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees out there. When they caught that 40 bug. So I think Aaron Rodgers just needs time to call it quits. You got too many weapons around you for you to be putting up 9 points against the Denver Broncos. So it's time to go ahead and call it a day. But anyway, they might make it to the playoffs, but yeah, it looks tough. It don't even look appeasing to watch the Jets play. Yeah, when you watch the Jets play, it's like watching. I don't even saying paint dry. It's hard on the eyes to watch the Jets play offense. It's terrible. It's just I just be looking like, oh my god, this is bad. Like I don't even. And it's kind of like when you watched Shaq in the end, and kind of Dwayne Wade and Michael Jordan and Kobe, and when you watch certain players, Larry Bird, AI, certain players at the end of their career, when you watch them, I say Charles Barkley, like when you watch certain players at the end of their career, you know, Peyton Manning, and it's just kind of like, man, like, and that's how it is with Aaron Rodgers. Watching Aaron Rodgers play football right now, you just feel sorry for him because it just he don't have it no more. It's not there. You know what I mean? He's not. His throws don't have the same velocity on them. He looks undecided most of the time, and I don't know what's going on. It just don't look good at all. But so I just think this need to be his last year. Period. Yeah. So like I said, I'm speed rolling through most of these games. Vikings, Packers. Very good game. Vikings look like they might be for real. Sam Darnold. Of course he's not the future. JJ McCarthy is more likely when he gets back, but Sam Darnold is making a good case this year. And when you got the best wide receiver in the game, he makes it easy for you, Justin Jefferson. And the defense playing pretty good. So, the Vikings, they might be one of those teams that might be legit and may make a little bit of noise and upset somebody when the playoffs roll around if they keep rolling the way they rolling. The Steelers, they kind of came back to life. Justin Fields, my partner is funny because I told Jacob all the time. I say, Jacob, you need to be Justin Fields' agent because you got more belief than him than I know anybody have in a quarterback. And Justin Fields, I know everybody's like, oh well, the Bears are a terrible organization and he didn't do them right, this, that, and the third. And I get all that, but at the same time, when you look at Justin Fields on the field, do you actually can look at him and say, well, if he was a different team, he would be a lot better than what he is. Well, he's with a different team with better talent and he still looks suspect at times. He still don't look like a number one quarterback. So at the end of the day, how many chances is the man going to get? You know what I'm saying? And then, you play against the Colts today. You struggled most of the game because if you watch the game, the score 27-24 at the end. That game wasn't like that close. Most of the game, they was down 17-3 most of the game. They made a kind of a comeback towards the end, but the Steelers never really had a chance of winning this game. When the score got to 27-24, that's really because the score was 27-17 for most of the second half. Then they scored at the end and maybe kind of gave themselves an outside chance to win. But the Steelers never had a chance to win in this game. And Justin Fields is not that guy. So, I'm not sure what happened with Anthony Richardson, but he's been struggling all year. I've said it back when I seen Anthony Richardson in college. He's not a number one quarterback. If you see him in college, you see how inaccurate he was. Yeah, he came in last year and took the league by storm for the first 3 games. Hell, Tim Tebow did the same thing, but don't make them number one quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, he's not accurate as a quarterback. You know what I mean? You can't teach accuracy. You know what I mean? That's the way either you got it or you don't. You know what I mean? You don't see most times you don't see quarterbacks get accurate once they go from college to the NFL. That doesn't usually happen. You know what I mean? Either you got it or you don't. And Anthony Richardson, yeah, he's strong and big, he fast, whatever. But being a number one quarterback, I don't really see him being that guy. But anyway, it is what it is. So next, man, the Rams, Bears, these two teams struggling. Caleb Williams, for whatever reason, I think it's a coaching thing more with him. He's gonna have to get a coach to know what they're doing or whatever. Because Caleb Williams, they have him running for his life all game, every game or whatever. The offensive line is trash because they have this man running for his life and making improv plays like he back at USC. They won the game today partly because the Rams all beat up. Both of their receivers. Think about if your top team, your receivers are both out. So they Cooper Cup and Pacheco. What's his name? Is it Pacheco? I think how you spell it. Both of them are out. Um, both his top receivers. So let's think about it. If you was the Cincinnati Bengals and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins was both out, or 49ers is winning despite, but Purdy is a little bit along on his learning curve and he got better weapons on the back end with Jennings and Brandon Ayuk still being in there because the 49ers are loaded with receivers. So they can survive being out of receivers. The Rams really can't. And then with old boy retiring last year, um, uh, um, uh, Sam Darnold, not Sam Darnold, said Sam Darnold. I gave him his name, the defensive tackle. When he retiring last year or whatever, that basically put them behind the 8 ball on defense. So they don't really have anybody on the defensive end that can rush the pass. So the Rams is pretty much going to struggle all year to win games. So next we got the Eagles, and the Buccaneers. Eagles, they've been suspects since last year, and I don't get the Eagles. The Eagles got more money than Moses when it comes to coming out here and getting players after player after player. They go out and they get every player that's in that's up for trade. They go out and get them. Every player that's in up free agency in the offseason, they go and get them, and they still have a hard time winning games, or whatever, and whatever the case may be. And the Eagles, I don't know what's going on with them. Their defense is trash. Jalen Hurts, think about it. I mean, he really came from Alabama and went to Oklahoma. Had that one good year. But Lincoln Riley makes all his quarterbacks look good. You know what I'm saying? But Jalen Hurts came from Alabama. When the last quarterback you seen from Alabama doing thing in the NFL? I wait. Exactly. You haven't. You haven't seen no NFL Alabama quarterback come out of the college and go to NFL. It's a system. It's a system ran it's a system ran program when it comes to Alabama. I don't care who you put back there. If you got a quarterback that's worth their salt, they're gonna look good at Alabama with all the talent they put around him, around those quarterbacks. And Jalen Hurts is basically he's decent, but they done figured Jalen Hurts out. I don't know what's going on with him, but basically, like, that division gonna come down to probably the last couple of seasons because we got a rookie quarterback in Washington. Dallas, they have Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts is probably about the same quarterback when it comes to talent wise themselves. The Eagles have a little bit more talent, but I don't know. It's just like I said, it's gonna come down to the wire on that whole situation. So we about to take one more break. One more quick break. We'll be back here on 910 Sports. Okay, we back. We back 910 Sports TV. Your boy Icon E. Running Dolo solo today. Shout out to my brother Jacob the Great, who couldn't be on here today because of the weather issues in South Carolina. But anyway, man, we gonna move on. We gonna move on. We almost finished with this college with the pro stuff real quick. We're gonna run through it. The 49ers and Patriots, 49ers did what they had to do. Nothing there. We already talked about my Commanders. The Chiefs, they still struggling, but Patrick Mahomes, boy, he is what it is. Justin Herbert's overrated to me. He's always been. So I ain't even gonna go into that. But Mahomes, boy, he is what he is. He that guy. The Raiders and Chiefs, I'm watching. Now the thing about it is Deshaun Watson threw a 54 out, y'all. He threw a bomb down to Amari Cooper. They got called back, so that wasn't on him. And Amari Cooper bobbled a throw that caused an interception on a long throw. So Deshaun Watson played a little bit better today, but for whatever reason, his offensive line is not giving him really no help, and so he kind of like he struggled. He did, but he looked a little bit better than he normally does. Basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and call it the game tonight. Bills Ravens. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the Bills win. They're gonna keep it rolling. The Ravens just don't look like they're in sync to me at all. I'm gonna start to question John Harbaugh a little bit. Be honest with y'all, but I'm gonna say the Bills win tonight. Titans Dolphins tomorrow night. Um, I got the Titans just because Dolphins on like their third or fourth string quarterback, and that's not a good thing. Tyler Huntley is a good quarterback, but you know what? I'm gonna say Dolphins. I'm gonna say Dolphins. I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna say because I feel like they might be inspired. And a lot of times when you're back against the wall and everybody's against you, you play your best ball. And they're at home in Miami in that humid weather. I know it's at night, but it's still humid at night in Miami. So I'm gonna say Dolphins pull out the win. Plus, the quarterback in Tennessee is kind of garbage. You know what I mean or whatever. Will Levis, he's not that good. Seahawks Lions. We'll go with nephew and them with the Lions tomorrow night or whatever at the crib or whatever in that game. So anyway, that's it for that. So we're gonna get into the college football stuff. Um, some great games over the weekend. I'm one of those people, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I actually think that Carson Beck is overrated. Yes, I said it. Carson Beck is overrated to me. Um, he's not the number one best quarterback in college football for what I've seen. Cam Ward looks better. Quentin Ewers look better. Shoot, Arch Manning looks better. There's other quarterbacks in college football that looks better than Jalen Milroe. He looks better than Carson Beck right now. And I know Carson Beck don't have the same weapons he had last year and all of that, but he overthrows a lot of passes. He's not as accurate as people think he is. And like I just said earlier, you can't teach accuracy and whatever. So he's going to continue to struggle or whatever to me at times. They still have some tough games left ahead of them or whatever. Uh, so I just feel like last week when they played against was it Kentucky, they almost lost that game. They won 13-12 or whatever. So I just feel like at the end of the day, yeah, they made it a game. But if you really watch the second half of that game, I think it was a defensive scheme that Alabama was playing. It was almost like they was playing not to lose. They was letting a lot of receivers run open on whatever. They was playing a lot of zone coverage and not really attacking the offense like they should have, like it was in the first half. So I think that's why Alabama or Georgia was able to make a run and make the game. It actually took the lead for a second, but I think it was more of that than it was just Carson Beck being a superhero type player all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion for what I seen in the second half of that game, or whatever. So that is what it is. Colorado, man, I can't say enough about Travis Hunter. Him and Shador Sanders, man, Shador Sanders to me is better than Carson Beck. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Shador Sanders make some throws that I just be like, wow. And Travis Hunter is the best player in college football. It's just not even. it's ridiculous the things that he can do. He can get you touchdowns and then shut down your best wide receiver. We haven't seen that in a long time, or whatever, or whatever the case may be. So, and at Colorado being in the situation they are, where UCF was considered a 28, I think they said a 28 point uh favorite or something, a 14 point favorite. I know they was a big favorite over Colorado. Colorado went in there and just bully ball and smashed them in the and punched them in the mouth and never relinquished what they was doing out there. And Colorado got so much confidence right now, going forward, especially when you have a coach like Prime who's gonna exude confidence in his players and what he's doing. That just makes it even better for them going forward, or whatever. My Miami Hurricanes team. All I'm gonna say is in college football, a lot of times you have to have what you call help. Um, you have to have a little luck to go along with what you're doing out there. And the um, thing about what happened Friday night, if you didn't see the game, Miami was losing most of the game. They was losing at least by like 10. I think they even got down by 14 points at one time, but they were down by 10 points most of the second half, and they made the game. They came all the way back, took the lead. The last second of the game, they Virginia Tech threw a hail mary, and if you're watching the end zone, the first thing was you thought our guy intercepted it, then you thought the guy caught it, then they said it was a touchdown, and when they reviewed it, they basically said that one of the Miami players, they didn't say it at the moment, they just said incomplete, but I guess they came back later on in the report and said that one of the Miami players was touching the ball as the guy was coming down, and he was out of bounds or whatever. So, so basically, in that situation, um, that we, that in that situation that we, we kind of got it. We caught a break, y'all. We caught a break. But teams do it all the time. You've seen Georgia Tech breaking games. You've seen Alabama in their championship years. I'm not saying that we're going to win a national championship, but what I'm saying is last year we was in the fifth game of the season. Same fifth game of the season as last year. We was playing against Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech, we instead of nil on the ball, we ran it, fumbled. Georgia Tech got the ball back, scored, they won the game. So sometime in college football and sports in general, you need a little luck to go with a little bit of talent and whatever. Um, and that's what happened to us yesterday. On Friday night, and what we was able to get the win in the end, or whatever the case may be. But um, I'm 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 so happy right now. Y'all don't know what to do because Washington and Miami football, college football, Miami Hurricanes is good at the same time, and I don't even know what to do with myself because I'm not used to this. You know what I mean, or whatever. So hopefully next week we got California. That's gonna be a tough game because being it was gonna be a tough game because we're playing in the West Coast environment. It's a real late game, like 10:30 p.m. on the West Coast. And somebody that like me that travels a lot, I'm gonna tell you that'll do something to your body. So I'm hoping what Cristobal will do is take them guys over to the West Coast, take them to California Monday. You know what I mean? Let them get acclimated to the time zone or whatever, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, and let them get acclimated. So by the time Saturday night come around, their bodies kind of got used to that time change. Don't wait till like Thursday to take them over there. You better take them boys over there about tomorrow or Tuesday. Let their bodies get acclimated to the time zone, the climate, and all that stuff over in Cali. Because if they don't, come Saturday night, they don't get the brakes beat off of them. I don't care I don't care how good Miami is right now and how much California is maybe not on their level. You put a Miami in an environment over there in the West Coast and don't take them over there early and let them get acclimated, they're gonna get the brakes beat off of them. I'm tell you that now. So Cristobal, do us all a favor. Take Miami over to California right now and get them bodies get acclimated so they can play their best ball come next Saturday night. Because we trying to get somewhere. We trying to get to that national playoff picture. We trying to be one of them teams that's right there. Because at the end, like it's gonna be us and Clemson for the ACC championship if we keep balling the way we balling. So these are the type of games we got to be set up to win going on the road playing against California. We get California go 6-0. I got a great chance. We got a great chance of going 10-2, 11-1 for the rest of the season. That's good. I'm just letting you know how I feel. Anyway, y'all, we're gonna take a one more quick break. before we get up out of here or whatever. So we'll be right here back on 910 Sports. Okay, we back 910 Sports TV, or whatever. So all I'm gonna say, man, it was a great week in football. Oh, let's talk about the NBA trade before we get out of here. Real quick. The NBA trade between Julius Randle um going to Minnesota and Karl Anthony Towns going into New York Knicks. Now it's kind of crazy because I am looking forward. Well, I ain't say looking forward to, but I do want to see what Stephen A. has to say tomorrow on First Take, because I know he's a huge Knicks fan. I might even go to TikTok, and I'm pretty sure he said something on TikTok on his page. But I'm gonna tell y'all why I think this is a perfect trade for both teams. Minnesota got them another bench player. That's all well and good. But I'm gonna tell you why it helps both teams. Karl Anthony Towns is what you call your typical modern day big man. He's kind of soft when it comes to the way he plays the game because he's more outside in instead of inside out. But that's what the Knicks needed. The Knicks needed more finesse. Knicks got all the goons, the hardcore, the rough and tough, what I'm saying, gritty type players. They got that already. The Knicks need that player like a Karl Anthony Towns that'll shoot them threes, he'll get down in the post a little bit and do a little damage, but they needed that extra score that can score. He don't have to be a number one or whatever. All like he was with Anthony Edwards. He wasn't a number one. He was like a number two, and that's what he can do with New York, and at time even be a number three. So he's not called on to be the guy. And then when you look at Julius Randle, that's what Minnesota needed. Minnesota needed a little bit more toughness, a little bit more grittiness, because we know Rudy Gobert is soft as cheese. So we melted cheese at that. So they needed somebody rough, and they needed somebody, a rugged guy like Julius Randle, that'll pound a little bit in the post, and he can shoot outside and spread the defense, but he gonna give you more of that inside presence and pound and make it ugly down there a little bit. So I like the trade for both teams or whatever. So it's all good on that front. So shout out to before we get out of here, Village Global Network, Kimmy and Senior G, the executive producers on the show, along with Icon E and King Get Jacob. Shout out to She Real Radio. Shout out to chicks Tub Entertainment. So shout out to them out there in Mississippi, on all the over 200 countries worldwide that we affiliated with, as far as being able to see what we got going on. We on a major network or whatever with 70 million people worldwide. So basically check us out on that if whatever also. So just shout out to everybody out there who continue to watch what we're doing, and keep my brother, like I said, keep my brother in your prayers or whatever, and out there in South Carolina. But I thank y'all for coming on. It's been a great show, great weekend of sports. We'll be back next week, whatever, for another great episode here on 910 Sports, y'all. Man, but so see y'all next time. And yeah, saying, just do something great for somebody this week that you otherwise wouldn't do. And keep God, God first in everything you do. And I'm out of here. Holla at ya, boy.